I told you this would happen. Why do you always ruin everything?
I ruin everything. You're the one who started.
Have you ever woken up on your birthday and felt the quiet urge to just skip it entirely, not celebrate, not answer messages, not be seen, just fast forward to tomorrow? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Because this is supposed to be your day. The one day you're expected to feel special, loved, celebrated. And yet, for some people, it feels like pressure, like expectation, like something you have to perform rather than experience. Here's the part most people don't talk about. The people who treat their birthday like just another day are not always indifferent. Sometimes they're the ones who feel the most. They notice who remembers and who doesn't. They feel the weight of attention even before it arrives. They sense the quiet gap between what the day should feel like and what it actually feels like. So instead of risking disappointment, they lower the meaning. They normalize the day, they protect themselves. Because maybe you don't hate your birthday, you hate what it represents.
Make a wish. Happy birthday! Yay! Happy birthday! Yay! Happy birthday!
Oh yeah, I just started a new project at work. It's been intense. But this party is...
From the moment we're born, birthdays are framed as something extraordinary. Balloons, candles, surprise parties. These aren't just traditions, they're expectations. And as we grow older, those expectations don't disappear. They evolve, they move online. Now, your birthday isn't just a personal experience, it's a public event. You wake up and subconsciously start tracking who texted, who posted, who forgot. Your phone becomes a scoreboard of affection. Instagram stories, Facebook timelines, tagged photos, each one quietly measuring how visible, how valued, how remembered you are. This is where the spotlight effect intensifies. On a normal day, the spotlight is mostly in your head. But on your birthday, it feels real, almost unavoidable. And even if no one is judging you directly, it feels like they are. Like your life is being subtly evaluated through the lens of celebration. If your birthday looks exciting, you're doing life right. If it looks quiet, people start asking questions. So without realizing it, your birthday shifts from something personal into something performative. It's no longer just about how you feel, it's about how it looks. And for many people, that invisible pressure is enough to make them want to disappear from it entirely. And then comes the part no one prepares you for, the performance. Because once a celebration starts, there's an unspoken script you're expected to follow. You're supposed to look surprised, but not too surprised. Grateful, but not awkward. Happy, consistently, effortlessly, convincingly. When someone hands you a gift, there's a brief moment where your reaction matters more than your actual feeling. Did you smile enough? Did your voice sound excited? Did you validate their effort? And if there's a party, the pressure quietly doubles. You're not just the person being celebrated, you're also managing the atmosphere, making sure everyone else is having a good time, keeping the energy up, holding the room together. It's what psychologists often refer to as emotional labor, regulating your internal state to meet external expectations. Even something as simple as a group singing happy birthday can feel overwhelming. All eyes on you, no clear role to play, just a strange lingering spotlight you didn't ask for. So instead of feeling joy, your nervous system shifts into awareness, monitoring, adjusting, performing. And at some point, it stops feeling like a celebration and starts feeling like a responsibility. For many people, treating their birthday like a normal day isn't avoidance, it's relief. But what if the discomfort goes deeper than social pressure, deeper than performance? For many people, birthdays don't just bring attention, they bring reflection. In psychology, birthdays act as what we call temporal landmarks, moments that naturally divide our lives into chapters. And when that line appears, your mind does something almost automatic. It looks back, and then it compares. You start asking questions you don't normally sit with. Where am I in life? Am I where I thought I'd be by now? This is where the tension begins to build. Because you're not just comparing your present to your past. You're comparing yourself to a version of you that once felt certain. According to the self-discrepancy theory, the gap between your actual self and your ideal self creates emotional discomfort, and birthdays magnify that gap. Maybe you thought you'd have your career figured out by now, or be in a stable relationship, or feel more confident, more settled, more sure of who you are, but instead you feel in between, not who you used to be, and not quite who you imagined becoming. And that's where something deeper surfaces, an identity gap, because a birthday doesn't just mark how long you've lived. It quietly asks what you've done with that time. And if the answer feels unclear, or unfinished, or not enough, then what's supposed to feel like celebration can start to feel like quiet, internal pressure. So for some, avoiding their birthday isn't about rejecting joy. It's about avoiding that moment of confrontation with themselves. But for some people, the feeling around birthdays didn't start in adulthood. It started much earlier, quietly, subtly, and often unnoticed. Because your brain doesn't just remember events, it remembers how those events felt. In psychology, this is closely tied to classical conditioning, the way your mind links experiences with emotional responses over time. Imagine a child waiting for their birthday, hoping someone remembers, hoping it feels special, but maybe no one showed up, or the day passed like it didn't matter, or worse, it became a moment of tension, conflict, or disappointment. To an adult, it might seem small, but to a child, those moments are defining. So the brain adapts. It learns a quiet rule. Don't expect too much from this day. And over time, that rule becomes automatic. Not a conscious thought, but a feeling. Even years later, when life looks completely different, your nervous system can still react the same way. A subtle heaviness, a low-level discomfort you can't fully explain. You might tell yourself, it's just another day. But underneath that is a pattern your mind learned long ago.
Just another
Because
day.
this isn't really about the present moment. It's about emotional memory. And sometimes choosing not to celebrate isn't indifference at all. It's self-protection. A quiet way of saying, if I don't build it up, I won't be let down.
I told you this would happen. Why do you always ruin everything?
I ruin everything. You're the one who started this.
So, what if nothing is wrong with you? What if the way you approach your birthday actually reflects growth? Because as people mature psychologically, something begins to shift. The need for constant external validation, attention, applause, reassurance starts to fade. And in its place, something quieter emerges, self-trust. You no longer need one specific day to prove that your life matters. You don't need a room full of people to confirm that you're worthy of being here. And maybe that's why a quiet birthday doesn't feel empty to you. Maybe it feels honest. There's also a subtle kind of freedom in stepping outside the script, choosing not to follow the expectations, the social media rituals, the pressure to perform happiness. You begin to reclaim the day, not as a spectacle, but as something personal. And that doesn't mean you have to ignore it completely. It just means you get to redefine it. Maybe it's a slow morning with your favorite coffee, a walk alone, a moment of reflection, or even doing absolutely nothing on purpose. Because a meaningful life isn't measured by how loudly it's celebrated, but by how deeply it's lived. So if your birthday comes and goes like any other day, that doesn't make it meaningless. It might just mean you've learned something most people haven't yet. You don't need a performance to feel whole. If this resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel for more deep psychology insights. And I'm curious, how do you usually feel on your birthday? Let me know in the comments.
I told you this would happen. Why do you always ruin everything?
I ruin everything. You're the one who started this in front